Hello, sixth grade superstars. So sorry about all those technical difficulties this morning, but this is the class recording for orientation. So welcome to sixth grade ELA with Mrs. Clemens. That's me for the 2021-2022 school year. So first up, I want to start talking about the PBIS format that we follow. It's basically our sixth grade superstar format. So I will always say, hello, sixth grade superstars, or address you all as sixth grade superstars. And this is what it means to be a sixth grade superstar. So you're accountable. So you come to class when you need to, completing your work on time, being accountable, somebody that we can rely on to, basically get that work done and get everything completed, being in class on time, all that jazz. Being respectful. So that means that you are being respectful to your classmates, to your teachers. You want to be respected, so make sure that you're respectful as well to others. And then engage. So that doesn't mean that you're going to have your eyes wide open, being like so focused on the lesson. I get that sometimes we need to take a break. Maybe we need to step away to use the restroom. Maybe we need a moment just to kind of, just decompress for a deal. But making sure that you're still engaged enough that you're answering polling questions when they're in class. You're not going off and playing Fortnite or anything like that. So some of you, this may be your first year being a part of OHVA. Maybe some of you have been here since kindergarten, but it's a public online school. What does that mean exactly? So, this means that basically, you're logging into class every single day. So you have Class Connects Monday through Thursday, and then Fridays are dedicated to students that need to complete missing work or any other additional lessons or activities that teachers may assign to the, sorry about that, when it comes to the being proud of your work. So that's what that means, that little, guy that's going like, yeah, like I'm so proud, wearing that star on his sleeve. Being proud of your work. So that means that you are, picking topics that you are passionate about. You're turning in assignments that you feel confident, okay, I did the best work I possibly could have done. So being proud of what you've done. And then in our classroom, that is that poster that I'm actually going to be using a lot when it comes to my virtual classroom. So whenever I have a slide at the beginning of my lessons, I'll have like a virtual classroom. This shows that sixth grade superstar mentality. So sixth grade superstar, or in our classroom, we are respecting each other. We try our best. We're a team. We learn from our mistakes. We create and we celebrate each other's success. So those are what the basis of the sixth grade superstar mentality is there. That clock is just basically make sure you're on time. We do close or have to let the class 5 minutes after class has started. So making sure that you're logged in on time. Sometimes we get technical difficulties, that kind of stuff that occur. And we'll talk about that in a little bit in the presentation. Bully-free zone, make sure you're not a bully. Sixth grade superstars don't bully each other. We instead encourage each other. And then finally, holding each other accountable, respectful and engaged, making sure we're following that sixth grade superstar mentality. So who am I? So I'm Mrs. Clemens. I graduated from The Ohio State University in 2017. I'm actually licensed to teach grades 4 through 9 ELA, social studies, and then 4 through 6 science. So I could teach basically all 3 subjects if I wanted to, but ELA is my passion. This is my 3rd year with OHVA, which is super exciting. I was a student before, but now it's my 3rd year as a teacher. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I actually live like north of it in Delaware, Ohio, but it's in that Columbus, Ohio region, so that's why I'm in the central area. I'm married to my wonderful husband, Aaron. We've actually been married for about 1.5 years now, and we have an adorable, he's now 3-month-old son named Calvin, who was actually born this summer. We have 2 dogs, Max and Maisie. You'll probably see them in the background on this couch. They love to hang out and chill out at in my classroom, so they're always here. Fun fact about me, I was actually an OHVA student in 2004 to 2007, and Principal Hauser was actually my teacher, which is super cool. Here's some pictures showcasing what I just explained. So this is me right outside the shoe where the Buckeyes play, the football team plays, jumping up in the air. This is my husband, Aaron, and then our adorable son, Calvin. Again, he's 3 months. He's going to be 3 months old next week, so he is growing up so fast. This is Max. So the bigger dog that you'll sometimes see is Max, and then we have Maisie that's right here too. So 2 dogs, they typically are around in the classroom. And then, of course, our amazing, amazing principal, love her, Principal Hauser. You also have your outstanding teachers. You've got Mrs. Allport for math, Mrs. Jaron for science, and Mrs. Workentine for history. They are all super helpful, and they are a fantastic team of teachers that you're working with this year. You also have fantastic advisors that help out too. So each of you has been assigned an advisor during your time at OHVA. Advisors are basically like your homeroom teachers. They're going to be the ones that are going to help you track attendance, help you with any questions that pertain to a certain subject, and are basically there to help you as well. So they're going to help out with a lot of like, what if you have to change your learning coach? What if you have issues when logging in attendance? They're going to be the person to go to. So when you email your content teachers, you're going to email them when you have a question about an assignment, quiz, lesson, or anything pertaining to the content, or when you're going to be missing those live Class Connect sessions. So if you have a question about a writing assignment, you're not going to email your advisor, you're going to email your ELA teacher. If you have a question about a math problem, you're going to email Mrs. Allport. But when do you email your advisors? So your advisors, you're going to email when you have questions about changing your learning coach, changing your address, issues with materials not getting in on time, adding PE, music, or foreign language courses to your schedule. Or when you're also going to be missing, when you're going to be missing a live Class Connect. So as you can see, those are the same. Whenever you're going to miss a live Class Connect, please make sure you're emailing not only the teacher that you're going to be missing class for, but also your advisor, because they're ones that are going to be focused on that attendance. Class schedule-wise, this is what our class schedule is going to look like for your particular group. So you're going to start out with ELA with me. Small groups, what those are, you're not going to have those every single day. It says if needed. So if there's something in particular that you're missing or you're really far behind on stuff, I'll probably invite you to a small group session. Or if you're like, hey, Mrs. Clemens, I need help with this particular quiz or writing assignment, you'll get an invite typically to attend that small group. Then you'll have history with Mrs. Workentine. Lunch is from 11:30 to 12. You have science then with Mrs. Deeren from 12 to 12:45. And then math with Mrs. Allport from 1:15 to 2. Some expectations this week of what you need to complete for my particular class. So you've already completed this. Monday was orientation. So you've completed that. That's finished. Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going to be taking your MAP test. Now, the test is not for a grade. It's just to see what you know so far. It's going to be basically covering 6th grade material. We just want to see what you know so far. You're going to be taking that with Mrs. Workentine tomorrow and Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, once you're finished with those MAP tests, are going to be dedicated to getting familiar with OMS. So getting familiar with the navigation of it, watching those how-to videos, and then completing optional Flipgrid activity, which we'll talk about Flipgrid here in just a moment. So ELA Class Connects, what is the expectation during these Class Connect sessions? So NewRow is our Class Connect platform. It's brand new to us teachers, so we're still learning in the process as well as you are. But it's awesome because we're able to really see a lot of student faces and use a different format. Make sure you're coming to class on time. The classroom, like I said, will lock 5 minutes after class has started. So please make sure you're logging into class on time. If you are running late or need to gain access back into the room, please make sure you email that content teacher for that particular class to let them know. So for example, if you're going to be late to ELA, you're like, hey, I'm running 10 minutes late, email me, let me know. I'll try to get you back into the room. Otherwise, there will be a recording of the session that will be available. And please make sure you're being respectful and ready to participate in class. Chat's going to be open for you to chat with your friends, but please make sure that you're being respectful in that. And make sure you have readings completed ahead of time if possible. There will be, we'll talk about next week, the online, basically audio versions of the text that will be available for you to listen to if you need that additional support. Cameras are a new feature this year. It's an awesome feature to have. Make sure that you are following the do's and not the don'ts. So make sure when you're getting on camera, you're feeling comfortable getting on camera. If you're just not feeling well that day or just don't want to get on, you don't have to. It's not like I'm pushing you to get on camera. But make sure that, get on camera when you feel comfortable. Use the microphone to answer questions asked in class. So don't use the microphone to be like, I can beatbox this, something like that. That's not using appropriate class time. There will be time for you to use the microphone to say hi at the beginning of class, but make sure you're using the microphone when appropriate. Don't share personal information through the camera or microphone. We'll talk about the reason as to why. But basically, not only will I get in trouble, but you will get in trouble as well if you share that. And there's a way that you'll be able to get access to, if you want to share personal information like gamer tags or emails, that it would be approved. And don't be inappropriate. We're 6th grade superstars, not 6th grade lame stars, so make sure that we're being appropriate on camera. ELA requirements. So units will close 2 weeks after the unit test. So make sure you're staying current with the plan tab. That plan tab is your best friend. I'll show what that plan tab looks like here in a moment, but make sure you're staying current with that. You get 3 attempts not only on quizzes but tests. The difference, there's 2 differences between the two. Quizzes are only 5 points. Unit exams or unit tests are 60 points, 60. And for quizzes though, you can gain an additional attempt if you fill out a study guide. I'll talk more about study guides next week. But if you fill out a study guide, email it to me, you'll be able to get that additional attempt. Excuse me. But for unit tests, no more additional attempts will be granted. Once you've used those attempts, that's all you got. Taking notes is encouraged. There will be study guides available at the beginning of each lesson that you can use to fill out. It's optional for you to fill out, but you can use those study guides on quizzes and tests, so I would make sure to take advantage of those. Read, read, read. Make sure you're reading those required readings. Don't just think that, oh, if I go to class, it'll be fine. I'll be able to get through that. Make sure you're reading ahead of time. It's important. I always say to read things twice if you can, but those required readings sometimes can be a little bit longer, so we may not be able to cover the full reading in class. And lastly, take advantage of those extra credit opportunities. We'll talk about Flipgrid here in a moment and what that looks like. With Flipgrid, you can earn 5 bonus points just for getting on camera and answering a question. So it's important to do that. So let's look at the online school format and how this works. So this is OMS, which is the online middle school. Basically, the main section that you're going to be focused on is that schedule and classes. So when you click on schedule on OMS, on the left-hand side, it'll pop up with a schedule. And this will be where your class connects are, but then also any assignments that are due will be listed here. If you pull into classes, that's where you're going to be able to access your classes. So your math, science, history, anything else like that, you'll be able to access the classes there. Tech tips. Make sure you are always completing your work in your student account and not your learning coaches. I have had students halfway through the year that have emailed me super frustrated because they have a 0 in my class, and they're wondering why, because they've completed the lessons. And if I come to find out that they've been completing everything in the learning coach account. So make sure that you're doing that. Following through and basically completing everything in your student account. This number is important. Tech support is your best friend. I love them to death. They are so awesome. Please make sure to utilize them and call this number if you ever have any tech issues. During this time of year in particular, they're pretty busy, so they may not get back to you right away. Just be patient. They'll get back to you and they'll be able to help you out. Make sure you're using Chrome or Firefox as your internet browser. They're free to download. These are the only internet browsers that work well with Neuro, but then also OMS. Don't use like Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer or Safari. ELA class expectations. So here's a couple of things that I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to show you that announcements section. So it's different than the announcements tab, the plan tab, and then the how-to and how to get access to that. So let me drag this over here real quick. So if you go onto your classroom page, and I'm actually going to in a second log in as a student so that we are able to see the student account. There's a couple of things that are going to be important to you to be successful. So one of them in particular is that announcements section, the class announcements. All teachers typically will post something in the class announcements section. This is our way to communicate to you versus sending out emails like all the time. It will have important information. I typically will post like once a week, but I recommend posting, or I recommend checking it every day, just in case, because there may be something in class that I don't cover. This will give you that information. The plan tab. So this particular tab is going to give you, at least I always recommend month view, but this will give you basically all the assignments that are due for the month, for the week, and this will help you stay on task. I recommend getting some sort of planner. You can also print out a free planner if you just do a quick Google search, but I recommend some sort of planner. It helps you stay on top of things and get ahead versus falling behind. So make sure you use that plan tab. The content section. And next up is the content section. So this is going to be helpful for you as well. There's going to be 4 tabs that are going to be important to you. One in particular is the course materials. This, right now, you're going to see some teacher stuff that's there. but this will give you the 6th grade syllabus, teacher contact information, all that jazz. Kind of gives you an idea of what the course looks like. The how-to section, that's going to be helpful because it gives you, if you have general questions on like, well, how do I submit an assignment? There's instructions here for you to use. Recommend going through this. Even if you think that you know how to use OMS, I still recommend going through these. Flipgrid, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but this is where you can access the extra credit. And then course introduction, this gives you an idea of what's going to be covered in our course this year. And there's even a little like scavenger hunt that you can use to help gain important information and use it for reference for future. So let's talk about Flipgrid. So throughout the year, you're going to be having the opportunity to complete extra credit activities and answer questions through Flipgrid. You can earn extra credit along the way. More details about this and how to complete your Flipgrid first assignment are all on OMS. So that page that I just showed you here where it was Flipgrid under content, please start with this video. I've had way too many students start emailing me asking me how to log in. This gives you all the information on how to log in, what you use, and how to create a video. So please make sure you're watching this before clicking on your class link, which you should only be able to see the D1. Not going to stay too long on this one, but this is our middle school grading policy, just kind of seeing what the grading scale looks like. We don't have an A+. I'm not sure why that's structured that way, but this is kind of that grading scale. Again, as a reminder, units are going to close 2 weeks after the unit test or after the due date, and these cannot be reopened. So please make sure that you're completing that. If you get it, I just would make sure that you're staying on top of things using the plan tab. And as always, just ask if you need help and stay on top of things from the beginning, and you're going to have a fantastic year. So ask your teachers questions. If you ever are trying to figure out what you need to complete or you feel like you're missing something, and you just look at the grades tab and you're like, I can't find what I'm missing, contact your teacher to see what's going on. Daily expectations. Make sure that you are completing your work in your student account. Make sure you're checking the daily plan tab to know what lessons and class connect sessions you need to complete. Make sure your learning coaches are entering attendance daily. You as a student should not be doing that. And also check your email daily. Communication with teachers and students. So some things to keep in mind when communicating with other students and your teachers. Make sure to respect the privacy and wishes of your fellow students and teachers. So don't be trying to push for information, about where a student lives if they don't want to share it or you haven't gained permission yet. Please make sure you're not doing that. Flaming, spamming, bullying, or other unwanted contacts, including inappropriate message, content, or attachments, will be considered a breach of this policy. Infractions may result in disciplinary action by the school administration. This is directly from your student handbook, so please make sure that you're following 6th grade superstar mentality. You're not being disrespectful to teachers or students. Typically what I recommend to students is before you send an email, say, how would I feel if I received an email like this? Would I feel good or would I feel pretty bad about myself, getting an email like that? So make sure to think before you send. And please make sure you're not sharing personal information again. If you'd like to exchange contact information, there's actually a document that the counselor has, Mrs. Crozier, that can easily, that your learning coach and then the learning coach of the student that you want to connect with, they both have to fill out in order to then gain that permission. Face-to-face events, I will include this in the email that I send out to you all, but there's that link there. This actually takes you directly to our school calendar, and this will be face-to-face events. So there's opportunities for you to meet with other students. One big one that we actually have at OHVA is the back-to-school picnic, which is on September 10th. I will be in the at the Westerville one, which is in Central Ohio. So if you're in the Central Ohio area, would love to see you there. But those face-to-face events are back and live again. Here's another link too that I'll send out as well in that email for student clubs. So K-12 has that amazing opportunity to connect with other K-12 students from across the nation with more than 50 clubs that are offered with a variety of topics. They range from like Rubik's Cubes clubs to football, basketball, I joke that, there's just so many different options. You could even start a club that's robots that serve tea. There's different ways to do that. K-12 National Summer Programs offers students a way to connect through the summer. So maybe next summer, if you want to be able to still be a part of student clubs, there's that option as well. They also offer national college and career workshops throughout the year to keep middle school and high school students engaged in preparation planning. So yeah, even as a sixth grader, you can still get prepared for college, even at this age. There's also a K-12 learning university that offers families a way to connect with other families across the nation too. And as always, if you have any questions, this is my number. All the teachers have at least this 419 number, and there's my extension, 7328. But my email is the best way to contact me. I typically have my email connected to my phone constantly, so I recommend emailing me. That is the best way to communicate with me and be able to get back to me, or I'll be able to get back to you within that 24 to 48 hour time frame. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I'm looking forward to having a terrific 2021-2022 school year.